All right, I am Spegtacular, the Silver Stack. I'm here with Brian Vermillion at his shop, Vermillion Enterprises, in Spring Hill, Florida. Brian, I have a big loaded question for you. I'm curious, right? When people come into your shop, they may be new collectors, or even, older collectors, stackers, whatever. What kind of questions are you getting as a shop owner?
We get lots of different questions. Some of them are kind of crazy and off the wall, but a lot of them are well-founded questions that a lot of people definitely want to know the answers on, I would say. One of them is probably maybe the most common I get. Well, where is the price of silver and gold going? Like, what's it going to get to?
You mean you don't have all the answers, Brian? You can't just tell people exactly what's going to happen any given day?
Well, I do. I actually do have that answer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What is it?
The answer is it's going to go up and it's going to go down.
Oh.
And that is the truth of it. I have no idea what number either will get to, but the reality is you have to expect when you buy it that it will go up and it will go down. And I know that sounds like, some kind of glib response, but that's the truth of it. We've seen a pretty wild ride just in the last week, right, for gold. We saw about $160 movement in gold in the last week. So we have people who gold, is not quite $2,000 an ounce right now. We have people who bought gold when it was at $2,100 an ounce here locally. So I mean, they're under right now. But we got customers that bought gold from us at $1,400 an ounce. So they're way up. So it's you got to understand when you're buying precious metals, it's going to go up and it's going to go down. And at the end of the day, that really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what it is when you go to sell it.
Gotcha. Well, that up and down should really excite people too, because that's part of the game, right? That way you have some opportunities. If it is $2,100 an ounce, you're not feeling you missed out because there is a potential for it to come down.
That's right.
And then that's when you should, say, hey, now it's also a good time for me to pick up when it comes down, so that one day it might be $2,100 again.
That's right. That's exactly right. And a lot of people consider that or call that cross averaging. That's a thing that a lot of seasoned stackers like to do. They try to get their stack as low as possible in the way of investment.
Right.
And which is cool. It's a good strategy.
Cross averaging was invented by the person that bought low and the price came up and they started buying a little bit more, and then it came way down. Right. And they're like, okay, you know what? Let's just call it cross averaging. I'm just going to keep buying at all levels.
Yeah, there you go. And then hopefully, as you build your stack has a lower dollar point per ounce entry point.
Yeah, that's a super smart idea.
Yeah.
And then it really doesn't matter that you hit a high or you hit a low.
That's right. That's actually kind of like holding a position on something, and that's fun.
Yeah. But what else? What kind of questions you got? I'm sure it gets wild in here.
Well, yeah. I mean, we get some really off the wall type questions that I don't know if really makes sense to even talk about, but some very tin hat conspiracy theory type stuff.
Well, as a group, I would say that the majority of people that stack precious metals are a little bit on the conspiracy theorist side.
Sure.
And the problem with conspiracy theories is sometimes they turn out to be true, which ends up fueling other conspiracy theories.
Right. And there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So it's very true. And we get a lot of those kind of questions, that's for sure.
Do you get the people that are brand new and like, hey, I watched you on YouTube. I just, I have this amount of money. What should I buy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. People are all the time asking us, what should I buy? What's the best buy? And when you come into our shop, you'll see we have big whiteboards that have the buy-sell prices of all our SKUs on them, so you can see what we're buying and selling for. And it's really, we can tell you what the best bang is per ounce, but what is the best buy for you may not be what is the best buy for somebody else. And therefore, that's really kind of a decision you got to kind of come to on your own, what you want to buy. It's hard for a shop owner to suggest what you should buy. And
it's not really a question you like answering, I'm sure, because you really want people to do their own research.
Yeah, we're definitely not financial advisors at all at any level, and we make sure that's perfectly clear to everybody. So it's really something that they need to come in on their own. And we've actually, in a couple instances, we've actually refused service to people because it really seemed like they were really stressed out about buying and had never done it before and thought that the end of the world was coming and really had no idea what they were doing. They were literally coming in with money in their hand, like thousands of dollars in their hand, saying, they're just handing it to me, just give me gold and silver. It's like, well, why?
Yeah.
And it's, we've turned people away because they didn't seem like they were in the right mind to purchase, and we didn't feel right about it.
I know that sounds like, to some people might be like, wow, this shop owner just turned people down, but it's probably the best idea. That way they can go away, do their own research, and then come back in better mindset and be like, you know what, I want silver eagles, or I want gold eagles, whatever the case may be.
It's never a good idea to buy anything or do anything out of fear, and sometimes people, they hear a lot of things on social media, for example, for the most part, and that just aren't true but are totally fear-based, and they can't differentiate the two, what's real and what's not, what's something to actually be concerned about, what's not. And sometimes they buy it hook, line, and sinker, and we gotta sometimes separate ourselves from that.
I'm sure you also get the question all the time from people that are selling, and they go, how much is this worth?
Oh yeah.
And that can go a couple different ways, I'm sure.
Yeah, how much is this worth? And perfect example of that, yesterday a guy comes in, he has a couple GSA Morgans, which are uncirculated Carson cities that the government set aside. And he was, what are these worth? And right now the common dates trade for about 320 or so.
Oh wow.
310. He was thinking they were like 700. And he thought I was like, leading him down a bad road. And it's like, no man, we sell them for 3.25.
Why did he say why he came to that conclusion?
He just probably had an old price guide, or was trying to look at what other people had them listed for on things like eBay or Etsy.
You can go to eBay and you can type just about any item in, not even just coins, like anything in.
Right.
And somebody out there has something listed for just this ridiculous price.
Yeah.
And it's not going to sell for that, but they can list it for whatever they want. It doesn't cost them to list it. It just costs that they end up selling it.
That's right.
As long as they don't list too many. I think there's like a certain threshold of, limit of how many you can list, but you can put anything you want on there.
You can put anything you want on there, absolutely. Another question I get asked all the time is, say someone comes in and buys a American Gold Eagle from us, for example. It could be anything. And they'll be like, okay, what are you going to pay me when I come back? Well, I have no idea what we're going to pay you when you come back to sell it. It depends on what the price of gold is at that time, and also what the wholesale market is too, because we set our buy and sell prices based on what is going on in the wholesale market. And that changes too, just like the spot price of gold or the spot price of silver. So the buy-sell rates are, not as volatile as the price of silver or gold, but they can be.
Let me ask you this question, if you don't mind picking up that same eagle, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to buy this from you today, Brian.
Right.
And my question is, if I was to sell this immediately once I buy it to you, what would you pay for it immediately?
Right, so you're going to have a delta of 3%. So right now, we are selling 1 ounce gold eagles at the spot price of gold plus 5%. And we're buying them at the spot price of gold plus 2%. So if you were to buy it and then turn around and sell it, you lose 3%.
So that's a fair question to ask you, though. Now,
absolutely.
Some shops probably don't want to answer that question.
Well, and when you come into our shop, it's right on the big whiteboards. You actually see our buy-sell rates right there literally as soon as you walk through the door. We play no games with our buy-sell rates, and for one, we're 100% behind transparency as our business motto, and also two, we're so busy that we don't have time to play games. So it's just, you come in. It's when I always tell people this, especially the newer people, when you come in my shop, it's kind of like going into the grocery store. You're going in, you're getting your eggs, your bacon, your milk, whatever, your bread, and then you go and you pay for it, and then you go about your business. It's really that simple, and you see the prices are posted right there, so you don't have to figure out, okay, well, what is this going for today? Oh, it's right there on the board. You can see the rate. You can whip out your phone and do the math yourself.
And Brian, I'm going to give your information down in the description of the video in case anybody wants to check out your shop. You also ship to the United States, just about anywhere in the United States, right? Everywhere?
Yeah, yes, sir. Anywhere in the United States we ship, even out to Alaska. and Hawaii, and we set payment via cash, wire, Zelle, and or business checks or personal checks now.
Gotcha.
So,
how about this question? I'm sure you get this one, right? You got some silver rounds over here, and you got some silver eagles,
yes, sir.
And people will be like, "What should I buy? Silver eagles or silver rounds?
Right.
What's better for me?"
So that is an actual question that deserves a legitimate answer because it depends, right? So in the state of Florida, the rounds, generic silver, we have to collect 6.5% sales tax on them if you buy less than $500 worth. Whereas the U.S. coins, being the silver eagles, we do not at any price point. So if you're going to buy less than $500 worth, I always suggest people buy silver eagles so they don't lose the sales tax and the premium. Get the silver eagles. But if you're going to buy over $500 worth, then it doesn't really matter. Buy whatever makes sense for you. That you're not going to lose sales tax on it regardless.
So somebody could come into your shop, Brian, and they could buy one silver eagle.
They could.
One. And how much tax are they paying on that?
They pay $0 in tax.
Okay.
Now they can come in and buy a 1 ounce silver round, and they're going to have to pay 6.5% sales tax, which let's say silver's $20 an ounce. It's a little bit more than that right now. That's going to be what, $1.30? So
that's rough.
Yeah. So I mean,
that adds up.
That adds up.
Yeah.
So it's you'd rather not pay the sales tax, in my opinion, unless you really just want to.
I don't know if you can answer this because I've actually come into your shop before, Brian, and I've seen this question, thrown at you. But somebody would be like, I got this old coin. It looks like this. How much you pay for that?
Right.
You get that all the time, don't you?
Oh yeah, we get that all the time. We get that. The thing we get along those lines the most is someone will come in with a modern coin that they found in their change, and then saw a video on YouTube or somebody on Etsy listing something similar for some ungodly amount of money, and thinking that their similar coin is worth this ungodly amount of money and wanting me to cash them out on it. Well, that doesn't work.
I think years ago this kind of trend started that, some of the antique shows that they said like, oh, you start getting things that are 100, years old and they're valuable.
Right.
Well, there's coins here in, the coin collecting hobby that can be well over 100 years old and only worth a couple cents.
Yep.
So you probably get those.
Well, that's like your wheat cents, your worn out buffalo nickels, your worn out V nickels. They're cool, they're neat, but value-wise, not great, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unless you got specific key dates or high grade, high condition ones.
You probably get asked, why are you wearing black gloves?
I get asked that all the time.
Does it stress you out?
No, it doesn't stress me out at all. In fact, I enjoy answering it because when I answer it to people, you should see the change of expression on the people.
Yeah.
And I'll answer it for you in a second. The other question I get along those lines is, you're always wearing black. So not always, but 99% of the time I have a black shirt on and a pair of black pants. Why? And it's like, it's basically my uniform.
You're
right?
doing good too. You don't got like a lot of dry skin and stuff. You know what I mean? You can pull off the black. That's good. Good for you.
It's it's just my uniform. It's like you go into Publix, right, which is our local grocery store. Everyone's wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not. It's nothing more than that. The gloves, we handle cash. Cash is disgusting. And if you're bored sometime and you really want to gross yourself out, Google what has been found on cash, and you'll see why I wear gloves. Because there's a lot of viruses and a lot of different drugs that hang out on cash.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's just that's why. And of course, with COVID, we just were handling people's jewelry and their personal possessions, and we're just like, you better glove up. We've literally had people come in and they want to sell their wedding band. They'll literally stick their whole finger in their mouth, slobber up their ring finger so they can slide the ring off and then try to hand it to us.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we buy dental gold, we buy all sorts of stuff that can be considered gross, and so we just wear gloves.
I think it's a silly question because I'm actually happy that a shop owner wants to wear gloves and touch my bullion and my coins because then you don't got your little grime and your little fingerprints on there you may have onto my stuff that I'm trying to buy.
Right.
So I'm happy with it.
Yeah. It's it makes sense, right?
For me, it does.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's and we want to protect ourselves too, and we don't want to pick up anything if we can prevent that, of course.
All right, what about this question? Brian, should I, is it better to get the 10th ounce gold or is it better to get the 1 ounce gold? Do you get that?
Oh, we get that all the time. And again, it comes back to our boards. It shows you the price point and percentages that the differences are. So if you want to buy an ounce of gold. So you want to buy one of these or do you want to buy 10 of these? Well, this is going to cost you an extra, 9% per ounce to buy the 1/10 ounce gold eagles. And some people are like, oh, wow, that doesn't make sense for me. But then some people are like, well, no, I want the 1/10 ounces. I don't want a larger piece because when I go to sell it, I may only want to sell a small percentage or a small amount of it at one time. I don't want to have to sell a big chunk. And that makes sense too for some people. So everybody's different. It all comes down to what your stacking preferences are. And what your stacking preferences are probably won't be what my stacking preferences are, and vice versa.
We're all different.
We're all different. That's right. And that's why, there's different things to choose and select from.
Different strokes for different folks is what they say.
That's right.
That's what they say. Anything else, Brian, you can think of on the fly?
Questions, a lot of questions we get.
I know you get a bunch, man.
Well, yeah, we get, what do we pay for, what do we pay is probably, for various things, probably the most, the question that we get asked the most. Another question I get asked a lot is, well, if it was your money, what would you buy? And
that's the same question as before, pretty much, right?
Yeah,
kind of.
What should I do? Yeah, kind of what should I do? And, I think those are the big ones for sure. I get asked too, what's your most expensive coin? Some people get really interested, how many ounces of gold do you own? That kind of stuff. And
that's such a weird question.
I
mean, well, it's something that I think as early on, you're taught not to ask somebody those kind of questions.
Right. It's the equivalent of asking somebody, how much money do you get in your bank account?
I get the same thing though. Like, hey, how much gold and silver do you own? It's like, I don't know, man. Like, how much money do you have in your bank account? Like,
right.
Why are you asking me such personal questions?
Yeah. So, and a lot of that is because I think that this stackers, it's a stacking community, right? And they don't really. A lot of times people don't think that may be crossing the line. It's just like, we're all brethren in the same struggle to get to this one position, right?
Nah, man, some of us are cool, but some of us are kind of weirdos. I'm not trying to, give everybody my personal stuff. I'll be honest with you. Just like any other human being,
I agree.
There's some cool people out there, some weirdos. I can't trust everybody because they're in the stacking community.
I agree, but that I think is what a lot of people, they kind of lump us all in together as,
we have to be a community.
We have to be a community.
With every single person the same way.
Yes, there's a lot of that out there.
Not for me, man.
It's, I hear you.
I like a majority of the people out there, but there's definitely some weird ones.
There are, and
that's me saying that now. It's not Brian, in his shop here.
Well, sometimes no, there's definitely some weird people out there, but you know what? Sometimes they're my favorite people too. I like weird
people.
Yeah, I like weird people every once in a while. Some people say I'm weird.
Well, I'm weird too. I'm in my own kind of way, and so are you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
human beings.
We're human beings, and what's fun as a dealer or a coin shop owner, what do you want to call us, is when we can help people, whether they're just needing information, knowledge. We can. It's fun to help with that, but it's also fun when we can help somebody financially. And I'm going to say every day, and I don't think I'll be exaggerating when I say that, people come to us because they're in a bad spot in life. And, regardless of what their current situation is, we can provide help that gives them actual relief, financial relief that they need like right then and there. Where banks can't or won't do that, lenders can't or won't do that. And we can provide immediate relief. And today it happened with the lady having to sell her diamond ring. You should have seen the look on her face when she had the money in her hand and she knew she could go pay whatever bill she had to pay. Like that stress, you could see the stress leave her body.
That's good.
Yeah, and that's the enjoyment that we as, or at least that I can only speak for myself as a shop owner, get from doing this. And the money's not bad either.
Yeah. All right, Brian. Listen, you're not getting any younger. This is a question for me, right?
Yeah.
Let's say this
Look
stuff.
Look at this.
Well, you had that for the last 10 years. Let's be honest. Let's say that gold hits a $10,000 mark and silver hits a $1,000 an ounce mark, right? And it happens so quickly, almost overnight. So your inventory is still there.
Right.
Do you just retire? Do you just take the money and run?
Oh, I'd be gone way before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
many numbers before the 1,000 and the 10,000.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I'd wait until silver hit 40.
Yeah.
So it's here's the thing though too is this is a question I do get asked quite a bit actually, and this is a good thing that people probably ought to think about. Well, where will I be able to sell my stack if silver got to $50 an ounce, for example? That's a good question. There might not be as many shops out there as you might think that will be buying at $50 an ounce. Silver when it hits $50 an ounce, and probably definitely not buying it at $50 an ounce. Probably buying it somewhat back of that. And same with gold. You know, well, if gold hit $3,000 an ounce, where will I be able to sell it? Well, that's a pretty good question.
When you say back of it, like, so let's say silver does go to $50 an ounce, people are
Right.
not paying that spot price; they're paying under spot,
Paying
which has been notorious, even way beyond 50, right?
Yes, and the reason being is when it gets to those kind of levels, most of the silver goes to one place, and that's back to the refineries. The refineries don't even pay guys like us spot for silver or gold; they pay us back a spot. So, of course, you know, if a dealer is selling their precious metals to a refinery who is paying them less than spot, well, obviously the dealer will be paying less than spot. And then also, if you have states that have hold periods, where if you go in and you sell something and they have to hold it for a period of time, like we were on a 30-day hold and Governor DeSantis got rid of it. Think about that. Silver's at $50 an ounce. What's a company going to want to pay for if they got a 30-day hold they got to operate in, or a 2-week hold or whatever? My buddy's in North Carolina. He's got a shop there on a 7-day hold. So it's what's somebody going to want to pay at $50 an ounce?
Right on.
And when silver got there last time, what was that? 08, 09, when it got up to like 48.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
that's
it was
about
08.
it's 08. Silver dropped $13 in one day when it came down.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So I know guys that lost millions of dollars in one day. Yeah. So that's why, when things get crazy like that, you'll see less players out there for sure.
Well, listen, Brian, I'm going to need you to go back home and just really rack your brain with more questions that you get asked so that we can do this again sometime. This was actually very fun.
Well, we should do like what's the old HBO thing? Or no, it was USA. After Dark. We should do like an After Dark like Q&A session where we can talk about all the X-rated questions I get asked on a daily basis.
Goodness gracious.
Yes.
So if you're over 18, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, the more risque questions that we get asked on a.
We can do that live sometime. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, we can show. We can tell stories of all the interesting body jewelry we've bought over the years.
I'm sure you've added some to yourself. Listen, Brian, again, I'm going to have your
Not
information. I'm going to have your information down in the description of the video so people can check you out. And greatly appreciate your time. And let's do this again sometime.
Sounds great, man.
Thanks, Brian. Bye-bye.
I appreciate it. Thank you.